Hello, and welcome to the Energy in a Cell unit. Right now, we'll be talking about the need for energy. My name is Mr. Milton. To do this, we will cover two main objectives. First, we will explain why organisms need a supply of energy, and then finally, we will describe how energy is stored and released by ATP. Remember, for all of the activities of life, we need energy. We need energy to be able to run, to play, to sleep, to eat. All of these things require some type of energy. Even our cells require energy to perform all of the functions they do. For example, a cell needs energy to make proteins. The energy in a cell is produced by the mitochondria. But what is this energy? The energy inside of a cell is called ATP. ATP is short for adenosine triphosphate. Adenosine triphosphate consists of an adenosine molecule, which if you look at your diagram, is this part right here. All words in science, usually the names, are compound words. They can be broken down to tell us exactly what a molecule is made out of. For example, adenosine triphosphate means that you have the adenosine molecule, as well as tri, which means 3, phosphate molecules. 1, 2, 3. ATP is sort of like the battery of a cell. It is the molecule that stores the energy that is used during the processes that the cell undertakes. It is the quick source of energy for any organelle in the cell that needs it. These phosphate groups are slightly charged particles. Now, since they all have the same charge, remember that charged particles don't exactly like to be next to each other. It's like putting two magnets next to each other. They're going to repel each other. The same thing with these molecules. They have bonds that hold them together. But the reality is those bonds are kind of tight because those phosphate molecules don't want to be next to each other. Let's talk about forming and breaking down ATP. Adenosine diphosphate is an adenosine molecule plus 2 phosphate molecules. This can be used to provide energy for some cellular activities. How do cells tap into the energy stored in ATP? Well, here's how it works. Take a look at your diagram. Down here, you've got adenosine triphosphate, okay, ATP. This ATP is consistent of the adenosine, which is adenine plus a ribose. Ribose is a type of sugar, plus your 3 phosphate groups. What happens is this ATP attaches to the organelle or the protein that needs it and that is going to use it. It's kind of like a battery. You know how you put a battery inside your remote control? You've got to put it in a certain way in order for that battery to supply energy to the remote. Well, it's exactly the same here. The ATP has to go into the molecule a certain way. If it doesn't go in that way, it won't supply the energy correctly. So, what happens is this ATP goes into the protein and it attaches in a certain way. Then, this bond right here is broken, okay? And this phosphate leaves, okay? You then have adenosine diphosphate. Why? Because one of these phosphates is no longer there. It has left. So now, since you only have 2, it is no longer ATP, it is now ADP, adenosine diphosphate. Later on, when ATP needs to be reformed, this phosphate is simply reattached to the ADP molecule. This takes place in the mitochondria, and we will discuss this in further lessons. What are the uses of cell energy? It is used for the synthesis of new molecules, such as enzymes. It helps to maintain homeostasis. Also, molecules build membranes and cell organelles, and the movement of ions and molecules. Remember that there is a thing called active transport. The active transport requires the use of ATP, energy, to be able to move molecules through the cellular membrane. Nerve transmission, and the producing light in bioluminescence. There are some organelles that use ATP to help provide them with light. Also, cellular movement. Today, we have reviewed some of the things for cellular energy and ATP. These objectives have been covered. Explain why organisms need a supply of energy. Also, we have described how energy is stored and released by ATP.